October 3, Ponce, Puerto Rico, hours after having touched down, in the storm-ravaged southwest portion of the island, President Joe Biden arrived at a steamy hot school gymnasium and pledged $60 million in assistance to Puerto Rico.
Today, I'm announcing more than $60 million in funding to help coastal areas in Puerto Rico become better prepared for the storm. For example, we can create a flood warning system to help shore up levees and flood walls. In addition, there's nearly $700 million in infrastructure investments in Puerto Rico that have already been announced since I signed the bipartisan infrastructure law last November. We are not leaving here as long as I'm president until everything. Sincerely.
Ironically, this happened 5 years to the day of Donald Trump's visit after Hurricane Maria. Preliminary evaluations show Hurricane Fiona damaged 50% of transmission lines and distribution feeders across Puerto Rico, as hundreds of thousands remain without power or water service, almost 2 weeks after the storm hit. Governor Pedro Pierluisi said crews were working swiftly to restore essential services, but stressed that he was not satisfied that more than 270,000 clients, out of 1.47 million, were still without power, and more than 100,000 clients, out of 1.2 million, without water service. "We are living in a state of eternal fragility," said Puerto Rico Representative Mariana Nogales. Luma, a private company that operates transmission and distribution of power in Puerto Rico, has promised that electricity would be restored to 90% of clients by October 6. The fastest way to apply for government assistance is through disasterassistance.gov. You can also apply through the FEMA mobile app, or by calling 1-800-621-3362.
September 29, an 18-year-old boy was murdered, Friday night, in an incident reported in the Palmarinas neighborhood, in Loíza, reported the police bureau. The preliminary report maintains that calls to the 911 emergency system alerted about a person with a gunshot wound on Calle 5, and upon arrival, the agents found the body of a man who died after receiving multiple bullet wounds. The victim was identified as Kevin Joel Jiménez, who lived in Loíza. October 1, a 34-year-old man died, Saturday afternoon, after receiving multiple gunshot wounds to his chest, in events that occurred in front of a residence, in the Villa Kennedy sector, also in Loíza, reported the police bureau. The deceased was identified by the authorities as Israel Jose Ayala Cruz, a resident of Loíza. According to the police report, Ayala Cruz was transported to the Diagnosis and Treatment Center in Loíza by his partner. Later, he was taken to the medical center in Rio Piedras, where they certified his death.
October 5, 2 men were murdered, in circumstances that are being investigated by the police Tuesday, in Trujillo Alto. The events were reported through a call to the 911 emergency system, at about 6:44 p.m. on PR 176, Los Guayabos Road, in the municipality. Upon arrival at the scene, officers found the bodies of 2 men on the pavement. Both had multiple gunshot wounds to different parts of the body. In a second police report, the police identified one of the deceased as John Erick Rosario Hernández, 21 years old, and a resident of the same town. Meanwhile, the second man was described as white, 5 feet 10 inches tall, weighing about 200 pounds, black hair, and brown eyes. In addition, at the time of the events, he was wearing a black shirt with the Adidas logo, white shorts, cream flip-flops, and black underwear. Thursday, October 6, the bullet-ridden bodies of 2 gagged men were found by authorities this past Thursday morning, in Caguas and Ibanito. The police reported both cases in separate press releases, in which they indicated that they were being investigated by the homicide divisions of each jurisdiction. However, the 2 police reports reported that the bodies were found in similar circumstances, 2 hours apart. The first case was reported at around 12:29 a.m., on PR1, Gerardo sector of the Beatriz neighborhood, in Caguas. According to preliminary information, a call through the 911 emergency system alerted the police to shots fired at the scene. Upon arrival, the agents located the body of a gagged man, on the pavement. In addition, the body had several gunshot wounds, in different parts of the body. Then, the second murder was reported at around 2:30 a.m. Thursday, at kilometer 54.8 of PR14, at the height of the La Plata neighborhood, in Ibanito. The preliminary report of the police indicates that they located on the pavement the body of a gagged man. In addition, the body had several gunshot wounds. Neither of the two victims had been identified at the time the report was issued. The police have reported 435 murders so far this year, 31 less than the 466 registered on the same date in 2021.
Thursday, October 6, agents from the Police Drug Bureau arrested 25 members of a gang dedicated to drug trafficking in Trujillo Alto, and that included former members of the organization, Rompeo NU, or the Organization of United Drug Traffickers. For his part, Colonel Carlos Cruz, director of the Superintendence of Special Operations, explained that the arrests arose after completing 10 search warrants in different apartments of the public housing complex. In different apartments, they seized a total of 5 Glock pistols and a rifle. Commander Wilson Lebron Otoño said that they also seized quite a few controlled substances, worth over $20,000. Meanwhile, the Commissioner of Police maintained that several of those arrested are linked to murders in Trujillo Alto and Carolina. In a press release, the police indicated that among the most recent incidents is a double murder in the past few days, on Los Guayabos Road, in the Carrizo neighborhood. Cruz told a news conference that the gang's second-in-command had been arrested, but refused to identify the alleged gang leader. Among the 25 arrested, there were 7 women. Cruz commented that there were also some older adults, who were in places where there was criminal material. In addition, agents detained 4 minors, who were in apartments that were being used to store contraband.
October 6, 4 Dominicans were arrested this Thursday, in the waters off western Puerto Rico, by the Coast Guard, after having seized 721 pounds, 327 kilos, of cocaine, that they were loading on a boat, and that they were trying to bring to the island. The Coast Guard indicated that, the cargo is valued at $6.5 million. The operation began when a small plane from the United States Customs and Border Protection Bureau, in Puerto Rico, spotted a speedboat at high speed, northwest of the Desiquio Islet. After the sighting, a Coast Guard vessel joined the operation, and one of its members saw the suspects throw bales into the sea. The Coast Guard boat managed to stop the suspicious boat, and the 4 men who were traveling. Later, they recovered 12 bales containing cocaine. On October 5, the authorities seized 18 bales of cocaine, this Wednesday, in the Los 80 sector, in Salinas, reported the Police Bureau. According to a press release, the bundles contained 540 blocks, with an estimated value of $7,560,000. According to the police report, the shipment was semi-hidden in a mangrove, where 4 gasoline tanks, a global positioning system, GPS, and food from Venezuela, were also found, and identified by the labeling.
Wednesday, October 5, Lilian Rosario Carrasco, was the first witness in the preliminary hearing, against her son, Julio Edwin Jiménez Rosario, accused of running over, and causing the death, of Pedro Alberto Rubert Vázquez. "Mommy, I killed someone," It was with this description that Rosario Carrasco began her testimony in room 205 of the Fajardo Court, before Judge Santos Ramos Lugo. Jimenez Rosario faces charges of reckless negligence, causing grievous bodily harm, failing to stop at the scene of an accident, and driving a motor vehicle under the influence of alcohol, that led to the death of pedestrian Pedro Alberto Rubert Vázquez. The young man is accused of having hit Rubert Vázquez on PR3 highway, and leaving the scene of the accident, with part of the victim's body between the windshield and the interior of the vehicle. The upper part of Rubert Vázquez's body was found by agents of the Rio Grande District of the Police Bureau, in the car, which was parked in the carport of his mother's residence. The legs of the victim were left at the bloody and grisly scene of the incident. The mother's testimony continued tearfully. "My son repeats to me that he had killed someone, and I tell him not to joke about it. But I notice that he is nervous and tearful. I went out to the canopy, but I don't see anything because the lighting on the street doesn't work, and the bulb is not enough to light. There, I turn on the flashlight of my cell phone, and point it at his car from him, and that's when I see the torso of a person who went through the glass of the car." The testimony revealed that the mother called the police, who came and took her son into custody. The blood alcohol test has not yet been made available to the public.
Friday, October 7th, a man was arrested by federal authorities after a grand jury indicted him for conspiracy to violate the Animal Welfare Act. The man allegedly directed a scheme for more than 30 years that consisted of breeding pit bull dogs for later use to make them fight to the death. Prosecutor Stephen Multro stated, Antonio Casillas Montero, also known as Stone City Kennel, had an illegal pattern of animal trafficking and sale, which he described as an organized and atrocious business. Dog fighting for entertainment and profit is the organized and egregious business of breeding and conditioning dogs to fight each other until one dog kills the other. A felony dogfighting conviction can lead to 16 months, 2 years, or 3 years in jail, and a fine of up to $50,000.
Tuesday, October 4, Judge Rafael Villafane Riera found no cause for trial against the 5 men who were charged with the murder of former boxer Héctor Macho Camacho and Adrian Alberto Yamil Mojica Moreno. After the last prosecution witness did not arrive, the star witness of the Macho Camacho case was confronted with inconsistencies and omissions in his story, and was reported to have left Puerto Rico to avoid testifying at an earlier hearing. Héctor Macho Camacho was shot in a drive-by shooting on November 20, 2012, and died 4 days later. The shooting took place in his hometown of Bayamón. Popularly known as Macho Camacho, a Puerto Rican boxer who was never knocked out, and who is also world champion of super featherweight, lightweight, and junior lightweight. In addition to winning minor titles in 4 other categories, he became the first boxer to be recognized as a 7-time champion.
Friday, September 30th, the former senator of the New Progressive Party, Abel Nazario, pleaded guilty last Friday to a criminal charge of corruption, which had been filed against him in the federal court of Old San Juan. The federal prosecutor's office indicated that the parties agreed to recommend a sentence of 18 months in prison. The sentencing hearing is scheduled for next January 13th.
Thanks for watching. Here's your weather for the week. Be sure and follow us on Facebook for up-to-date news, weather, entertainment, events, viral videos and more. Search Puerto Rico English News, or follow the link in the description. Find us on Twitter at PR English News. Thanks for subscribing. Have an amazing week.